Well, it's coming apparently. Announced at E3 2020, Skate 4, or at the very least a new skate game, is on its way. Then again, Pikmin 4 has been coming out for the last 5.5 years now, is it? So I won't be throwing out my old Xbox just yet. So, what can you do to kill time before the next Skate installment comes out? Well, let's take a look at Skater XL and see how that shapes up. Will it hold us over till Skate 4? Will it surpass the Skate games? Or will it be a buggy piece of trash? Let's find out. For clarity's sake, I'm going to be reviewing the Xbox One version of the game, but this game is also available on Steam and PlayStation. It's also coming to Switch sometime this year, but it was meant to come out with the other versions, and very little info has been shared as to why it got delayed. So who knows how long you'll be waiting for the inevitably worse 15 frames per second lower version of the game. The game wastes no time getting you up to speed, and I have to say the tutorial does a great job explaining everything in a straightforward way. Unlike Skate 3's controls, where the flip tricks are performed with the right stick and the skater is controlled with the left stick controls the front foot and the right controls the back foot. So combining shove it motions with the right stick and using the left for kickflip and heel flip movements, you can cook up the usual spiel of tricks like tray flips and varials. Add in the bumpers for grabs and you've got everything you need for a solid skater. If you're wondering how you steer, you've got two options: leaning left or right with the left stick or using RT and LT. It takes a bit of getting used to this way, and it's definitely not as intuitive as using a joystick. However, if you use a joystick for steering, you'll end up running into the problem I had, where I'd accidentally do an unintended nollie shove it whenever I try to line up a trick. The skating in XL is a lot of fun. There's just the right amount of difficulty in doing specific flips and grinds that pulling off a nice looking line is really satisfying. It took me a good while to finally be able to pull off a nose blunt, and damn, that looks so good. It also feels very grounded and realistic. For the most part. It's not too floaty, and the tricks have real weight to them. I do wish there was some more realistic bail animations to complement it, like they did in Skate 3, as any knock to your board will result in the skater ragdolling into a vegetative state, but it's not the worst thing. Unfortunately, there are a good few bugs and glitches here and there. I had the skybox repeatedly flash on me, legs get stuck in one position, clipping through the floor, getting tons of speed if you hit a ramp a certain way. Sometimes the grinds won't line up properly and you'll just be grinding next to where you should be. The most intense speed wobble I've ever seen. Yeah, it's all happened in the time I've been playing it, but it's not too much that it negatively affected my time with it. This game is a very good skateboard simulator, but unfortunately it's not a very good game. I say that because whilst there's been a whole lot of work into getting the skating physics just right, for the most part, the actual gameplay seems more like an afterthought. For example, Skate 3 is a short story following a recently injured skater going from zero to hero. You accomplish this by entering skate competitions, finding skate spots throughout the world, performing specific tricks for photo shoots, filming skate videos. You've also got multiple things to do like earning new clothes and decks, Hall of Meat where you earn points by bailing spectacularly, races, a map creator, multiplayer modes. There's so many gameplay features and ideas in there that it really fleshes out the game. Well, Skater XL has a grand total of 3 features. The first I've mentioned, and the other 2 I'll cover more thoroughly in a sec. Number 1, good skateboard simulation. Number 2, a mod browser for you to browse and download approved mods. And number 3, challenges. And that's it. And I'm aware that there's a massive difference between a small indie team at Easy Day Studios and a large AAA team at EA Black Box, but that doesn't change the fact that there's not much game here. There's been a lot of great games created with a small or one-man team with lots of game mechanics, so there's not really a viable excuse for a game that's apparently left alpha. Even under the description of skateboard simulator rather than a game, there's no simulators I can think of off the top of my head with this little content. Like truck simulators still have goals to accomplish to earn more money to get new vehicles and etc, but there's essentially nothing here. The challenges come in a variety of different headings and are available for each of the base maps and the 3 pre-installed community maps, and consist only of do this trick, or do this trick and then this trick. It's not entirely bad, it does at least give you something to do, and they use various interesting spots that you may have missed while free skating. It also shows a ghost in front of you and a controller on screen to let you know how to perform the trick, which is a useful way to learn some of the more complicated tricks. That being said, it's not really fun. It gets repetitive almost immediately, especially when it'll get you to do a 180 backside kickflip challenge followed by a 180 frontside kickflip one. There's more variety in a bag of Maltesers. Let's take a quick step back and talk about the maps. One of the most important things when it comes to making a decent skateboard game is the maps. You can have the literal best skating physics ever. It could burn the sides of your shoes and yell at you for more grabbing your board with how realistic it is. But if you've got a series of unmatching benches and tables that don't line up properly, then you're going to have a bad game. Thankfully, for the most part, they've done a great job with the maps. Each one has a really nice flow to it and are full of multiple different set pieces. For example, the default map, Easy Day High School, is so nice. It works really well with loads of staircases and ramps while still feeling like a real school setting. For example, instead of just having miscellaneous rails and ramps everywhere, they've got like cut benches, or like here where someone's propped up a bit of wood against a bench to form a ramp, implying the students have basically set this up to skate on, which is really nice attention to detail. Granted, not all the ramps and stuff make sense, like this building with a ramp and staircase to literally nowhere on 3 sides of the building, when the only door is here. There's also a building right next to it with a ramp structure either side that seems to serve no other purpose but block out the sun from the building behind it. There's also a great mega ramp that consists of mega ramp surprisingly enough, along with a few smaller ramps and rails, which is really fun to go wild on, performing such hit tricks as backside 1080 1620 inward octuple heel, or the nollie backside 900 540 inward quintuple heel. Unfortunately, not all the maps are created equal, and some are pretty bad. The worst is definitely the courthouse map. There's nothing to do here and it's really small. There's some cool parts like this set of stairs and some nice ledges to grind, but there's not much past that. There's lots of wasted space too, like this empty road that just leads to a dead end. And the area also just doesn't make sense either, with this walled off area that literally serves no purpose. Unless that's where they keep jurors before jury duty. I don't know how courthouses work, to be honest. There's also the California skate park, which isn't too bad, but because it's designed to be realistic, you'll end up accidentally kickflipping a mile past the ledge you were trying to grind, as everything feels a bit too small. But other than that, it's alright. Now, the maps made by the community, now there's something special. There's a few included with the game, and there's currently 3 available from the mod browser, and they are fantastic. Riverfern and Applewood are just incredible skate maps. Applewood is a city map with tons of interesting stairs, hubs and rails, whilst Riverfern is an indoor skate park with an outdoor section to go with it. Mod creators also impressed me with what they accomplished for nothing more than a bit of thanks and appreciation, and these maps are no exception. They're not all just put together with pre-existing assets either. You've got brand new stuff like this skate bowl, this massive skateboard, and this architecture is honestly quite beautiful. The mod scene is the iron lung for this game, as it's quite possibly the biggest thing that's keeping this game alive, and I love it. Want new decks and clothes? Sure thing. Want to dress up as that guy who invented Coke? Go for it. And whilst there's only 3 maps currently in the mod browser, there's hundreds more available for the PC Master Race if you check out skaterxl.mod.io. Here's a few interesting maps I found. It's a shame the mod browser on consoles has such a small list of mod maps available, but it's certainly better than none at all, and they'll more than likely add more as they've been adding a lot more gear such as decks and clothing pretty regularly. In fact, as I was editing this video, they added a new map called The Warehouse by Yaki. Are abandoned warehouses all secretly skate parks? Why does a warehouse make such a good skate map? I'll have to check my nearest abandoned warehouse. The next thing I think is worth mentioning is the music. So I'll be honest, it's not my personal taste. Being made up of mostly indie rock, it just doesn't hit me like most skater soundtracks. I've loved every Tony Hawk soundtrack, and each EA skate game has had a great selection of music. Hell, even Pro Skater 5 had a decent soundtrack with such bands as Royal Blood and 4 Year Strong, so I think I was mostly disappointed because I was expecting more of the same. I honestly thought these were just small indie bands so that the developers could get the licenses to them cheaper, but no, the first band on the playlist is Band of Horses, with 2 million monthly listeners, and then another song, My Girls by Animal Collective, has 36 million plays. So I did a bit of research, and according to this article and the general consensus on Reddit, this is a brilliant soundtrack that really captures the current skater culture. So just because it's not my personal taste, I won't hold it against this game, as many seem to really enjoy the soundtrack. However, something I will hold against this game's soundtrack is that it isn't on shuffle. That's right, every time you boot up the game or turn the music off and on, it starts up with the exact same songs in the exact same order. Whilst I like games that give you the option to skip songs, I understand that it isn't a priority, but the least you can do is shuffle it. It's not the end of the world though, as you can always turn off the music and play your own playlist from your phone instead.
Take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today. I walk to Burger King, then I walk back home from Burger King.
Why you had to leave me, bitch? Why you had to take the kids? Please just let me see them on Christmas.
I know I keep comparing the two, but Skater XL does do some things better than Skate 3. For example, the session marker is a lot better. Instead of just being able to place a marker where you currently are, you can also view the entire map and select where you want the marker to be, opening up the map vastly so you can set your starting point on top of buildings and trick between them, something you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. My favourite line, which you're seeing on screen now, starts up here where you can't get to normally. And whilst the fact that the maps are enclosed areas and not part of a big world could be considered a downside, doing it this way means that the markers load instantly. In Skate 3, when your session covered a bit of distance, like when you're skating the dam, if you then bailed and went back to your session marker, a lot of the time the game would have unloaded the previous chunk, and so returning to the session marker would lead to an annoying load screen. And when you've just bailed because you've crashed into a skater or something, it's very frustrating having to wait for the game to load each time. However, in Skater XL, where everything's loaded at once, the marker loading is always instant, so bails are a lot less annoying, as within a flash you're back to the start. And when you're as bad as me, it's an absolute lifesaver. I've had a really good time with this game, and it's joined the list of my regular time wasters such as Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 1. It's perfect to just pick up and play whenever I want to chill out, put on some music, and reminisce on that brief period of time when I could just about do a kickflip, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So, do I recommend this game for Skate fans that are waiting for Skate 4? Well, yes and no. If you still turn on the old Xbox to mess around with a skate game, maybe hit a few spots and just generally skate around, then yes, definitely. There's a learning curve to it, but once you get the hang of it, you'll feel like you're right back there with brand new maps to explore and tricks to master. But if you enjoyed the world of Skate for its story, its challenges, its multiplayer modes and its open world, then unfortunately you'll have to wait patiently for Skate 4. Thanks for watching. I have no idea what direction this channel is going to take this year. I want to continue the Every SpongeBob Game Ever review series, but I'll be honest, Ant-Dude did such a great job covering the majority of SpongeBob games that it's really put a dent in my enthusiasm for it. Unfortunately for this channel, the majority of my focus will be on my animation channel, because I'm trying to get a small series going over there this year, so we'll see. Thanks for the support over the years, and if you've watched it this far then, you're a true king. And special thanks to my Patreons. See ya!